Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have an excellent show in store for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So this is going to be a hilarious one, right? It's going to be a very hilarious one. And why do I say that? So yesterday there was a very, very pivotal game that took place in the NBA last night between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. Funny enough, I was rooting for the Lakers in this particular game for my own selfish reasons. But anyway, it was a pretty hype game. Stephen Curry versus LeBron James. You had Jimmy Butler there. Luka Dončić was there and all of that. Right? So there was a lot of hype going into the game. And I watched the game pretty much from beginning to end. And the Warriors surprised me because actually I thought that the Lakers were going to be successful and beat the Warriors in that game, but I was wrong. Stephen Curry was out of his mind. So was LeBron. I think they both finished with 33 or 36 points, respectively. But Luka didn't have such a hot game. Jimmy Butler didn't really score as many points. Draymond Green, though, however, had some key pivotal moments in the game. Defensive plays, timely threes. Draymond had an outstanding game there. And ultimately, the Golden State Warriors were able to come away with 123-116 victory. And after that game, the current playoff standings look like the following. Thunder number 1, Rockets number 2. The Denver Nuggets are now number 3, back at the 3 spot. Going into that game, they were the 4 seed behind the Lakers. But since the Lakers dropped that game, they now fell back to the 4th seed. Now, what is interesting about this is the following. The Warriors have now jumped to the 5th seed. Right? They're now at the 5th seed, and they're only 1 loss behind the Lakers in the loss column. So the Lakers, I believe, their next opponent, they're going to be playing against the they're going to be playing against the Pelicans. Then things get really tough where they play the Thunder back to back, and then of course they're going to have the Mavericks game with Anthony Davis, who's back. I'm sure he's going to be very motivated, and those guys are going to want to make a statement. But I do think the Lakers need to get that Pelican game, and I do think the Lakers will get that they must get that Pelican game, because if you lose that Pelican game, and you have to play the Oklahoma City Thunder 2 times in a row. Then you have to play a motivated Mavericks team who are also in the playoff hunt. Then you have to play the Rockets again. You don't want to mess around. They need to get that win. That's the one they really need, right? They really need to get that one because only God knows what's going to happen when they play against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are the class of the Western Conference. So that happens. And in the aftermath of that game, people are online losing their mind. Oh, man, the season is over. The Lakers suck. And da-da-da. And the usual thing that now happens with the Lakers is, who do we blame? Who's the scapegoat? Who are we going to scapegoat? And it looks like ESPN this morning was scrambling because they were desperately looking for who they were going to scapegoat. And it turns out the person that they were able to identify as a scapegoat was going to be Luka Dončić. So what we want to do is want to play some of the sound from what these guys had to say today on ESPN's Get Up. And then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what these guys had to say here.
So I know that for television show purposes, I'm supposed to give a simple answer like yes or no. There's more nuance to it than that because the Luka trade did not complete the Lakers roster. They still have things that they've got to work on and get together, whereas the Warriors trade, a lot of things fell into place. So if I could just stick a word in there, more immediately, without question, the results show that it was more impactful for the Warriors because it transformed them into a championship contender, which is what Draymond Green said about 15 minutes after Jimmy Butler got there. He thought they could win the title this year. A lot of us, including me, kind of rolled our eyes, and the more I've watched, I understand what he's talking about. I don't think you can fairly judge this Laker team until they fix the balance on their roster. But there's no doubt that Luka the expectation is for him to make more of an impact than he's made so far.
I remember you and I talking at great length on this show, and you were everywhere talking about the Luka piece of this. And the one thing he has done, it seems to me, is after these performances, taken responsibility. He does seem to have some understanding when he doesn't hold up his end of the bargain on either end of the floor, which last night was a major problem on both sides. But how about that? Should there be a level of concern for this right now, Wendy?
He's not had a good year, okay? And a lot of it has been tied to the calf injuries that he's had. After we watched him lead the Mavericks to the finals this year, this guy was the far and away front runner to win the MVP award. We thought he was going to be having a coronation regular season. He didn't have it in Dallas. He hasn't had it so far with the Lakers. He will get a great opportunity in the postseason. But there is a pathway for the Lakers to have a really good opportunity here. If they could get in the 2 and 3, and Denver and Golden State were in the 4 or 5, and they would be on the opposite side of the bracket as both the Thunder, the Nuggets, and the Warriors, the hardest teams to face. That was there for them, and the win last night would have really made it possible. And then you open up the chance that you only have to win one insane series, and you have arguably maybe the best player. And that loss last night where Luka couldn't deliver that and was essentially a playoff game does make you think there's more there. There's more that Luka can give, and he knows it too.
So you heard what they had to say, right? Luka Dončić is the one to blame. Now let's look at the box score. Let's look at Luka specifically. Luka in that game had 19 points on 35% shooting. He did hit all 7 of his free throws. He was 0-6 from 3. He did have 8 rebounds and 7 assists in that game. Now, he was outplayed by his teammates. Rui Hachimura had a strong game with 24 points. LeBron had 33, 9, and 5. He had a strong game, very efficient game at 66% from the field, 5 threes, 62% from the 3. Austin Reeves had 31, right? And he hit 9 3-point shots. Austin Reeves was hitting some shots in that game yesterday. I was like, yo, what is going on? Like, this dude, he was in fuego yesterday. Some was balling out. But Luka was the guy that scored 19, right? So if you heard them in the sound, oh, Luka, Luka's not living up to the hype, and Luka has been a disappointment. So let's look at Luka's numbers since he's been a Los Angeles Laker. Luka's played 23 games with the Lakers. What are his numbers? He's averaging 27 points a game on 41.2% shooting from the field, 35% shooting from 3. He's shooting you 80% from the free throw line, while getting you 8.4 rebounds, 7.9 assists, 3.9 turnovers, 1.7 steals, and 0.5 blocks. What number specifically were you looking for him to get? 35 points a game? He's not delivering it from what standpoint? If you're talking about Luka Dončić not being able to deliver on the defensive side of the floor, I thought you guys were already aware of this before. Weren't you guys already aware of the fact that Luka wasn't a defensive presence? Has never been a defensive presence, although last year he had various stints in the playoffs where he played defense? I'm confused here. I'm confused. Have you been looking at some of the games that Luka's been having prior to this game here? Have you been seeing some of them games that Luka Dončić has been playing? Some of them box scores that Luka Dončić has been a part of? Or is it now all of a sudden you've discovered that Luka Dončić isn't good? I'm confused here. Okay, fine. He had that box score in that game. What about the game against the Rockets? What did Luka have in that game? 29 and 6 in that game. LeBron had 16. What about the game before that against the Grizzlies? What did Luka have in that game? Luka had what? 29, 9, and 8 in that game. LeBron had 25. What about the game against the Chicago Bulls? How many points did Luka score in that game? Luka had 25, 8, and 10. LeBron had 17. What about the game against the Pacers? How many did Luka have in that game? Let's see. Luka had 34, 7, and 7. LeBron had 13. I'm confused. I'm confused. What are we talking about here? Y'all trying to turn Luka into the scapegoat. Let me just say this. There are some people out there that seem to be unaware that Luka could walk this summer, folks. He could walk. So what would that mean? That would mean that Luka could walk, AD's left, and y'all be left with LeBron. I suggest some of you guys pipe down. I suggest some of you guys lay off of Luka. He was a mid-season acquisition, and you're trying to integrate him into this system. I suggest you guys pipe down. Luka is the Lakers' best player. Y'all need to pipe down. The people that are complaining need to pipe down. They need to pipe down. Do a little bit less complaining about Luka and appreciate the fact that you guys have a generational talent. Y'all need to pipe the hell down. Stop complaining about Luka. He's the best thing you got. Son just came from the finals. Let's stop playing. The Lakers did not come from the finals. The last time the Lakers went to the finals was in 2020. 5 years ago going on. Let's stop with all this Luka hate and stop looking for who the scapegoat and instead just blame the team that they lost. There doesn't always have to be a scapegoat. You know what I thought? There mustn't be a scapegoat every single time this team loses. Just my thought. These are just my 2 cents. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I'm out. Peace.